Good evening, everyone. I just want to call the meeting to order. You can stand for the pledge.
The United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I just want to start off with a small note. On behalf of the board, we'd like to offer our condolences to the family of Marie Rogers. Ms. Rogers served as the district clerk for 31 years and was a pillar of our community. Marie lived her entire life in East Islip and will be missed by many. On behalf of the Board of Education, again, we want to pass our condolences. Thank you. Board President advised the members of the audience that they may address the board regarding agenda items after the superintendent's report. Only those members whose names and addresses are listed on the sign-in sheet available prior to the start of the meeting will be recognized during new business. The chairperson will limit discussions of any item by the public to 3 minutes in order for the board to expeditiously conduct its business. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Manzo for the superintendent's report.
Good evening, and thank you, Mr. Dorgan. I am pleased to share that we have had an exceptional winter season, sports season. Several of our varsity teams made it to playoffs, counties, and state championships. In addition, several of our athletes have qualified for state and national competitions. This evening, we'll be recognizing these exceptional students for their hard work on the field, in the gym, and on the court. Their perseverance and determination in and off the field and in the classroom is to be commended. In a moment, I will ask Mr. Restivo to introduce their coaches, who will honor these student athletes. Before I do that, I would like to remind everyone that our high school musical Mean Girls will take place March 21st through the 23rd. Please make every effort to support our talented performers. You will be in for a treat. Dr. O'Rourke and I were visiting the other day during their rehearsal. They were terrific. I mean, right? Okay. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Restivo.
Good evening. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our Board of Education, our superintendent, and our assistant superintendents for all of your support during our academic and athletic school year. This is a very impressive athletic year that we have had so far. Our fall teams persevered and won many championships, and our winter season just as many. It's been unbelievable what they've been achieving. A lot of personal best times, first time county championships, and I know the spring is going to be, we're going to have a big crowd again after our spring season. So, it's congratulations to all of our student athletes and their parents and our coaches for all of their hard work. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Nicole O'Connor, our varsity gymnastics coach, to come and recognize one of our student athletes.
All right, hello everyone. I wanted to take this opportunity to recognize Sophia Pepe for competing at the New York State Gymnastics Championships this past weekend. So come up and join me. So this past weekend, we traveled up to Buffalo for Sophia to compete at the state tournament. This past November, because gymnastics is a fall sport, she competed at the individual county championships, where she was awarded 1 out of only 9 spots on the Section 11 state team. As you can imagine, this is a very difficult task considering over 100 gymnasts competed at the county championships, and she was granted 1 of only 9 spots. At the meet, she was tasked with competing first on the first event of the competition. And I can successfully say that Sophia had a phenomenal meet, and she helped Section 11 place 3rd at the state tournament, which is an unbelievable accomplishment. I can truly say I've had the honor of getting to know Sophia very well this past year, and not only is she a phenomenal athlete, she's an amazing student and an amazing human being. Sophia, I congratulate you for your accomplishments this year.
Yeah,
I do? Just hold this? Open it. Oh, it's my first time. She brought her medal. You want to hold it? You can hold it. Okay. I'm doing the best I can. Come on.
It says Bella on it.
Like crazy movie. Thank you.
I would like to introduce our varsity wrestling coaches, Coach Longobardi, Coach Coppinger, and Coach Esposito to please come up.
Thank you. I don't know which way to face. First off, I would like to thank the school board and administration for having us here tonight, and thank you to Mr. Restivo for his constant support of our team throughout the year. I want to thank our wrestling parents for all they do. They are truly unbelievable. What these kids have gone through to become successful in this sport comes from you. Driving them to the gym, meal prepping, early morning tournaments, taking trips upstate, traveling through off-season tournaments. It's parents like you that make this town great. It's why programs in EI are thriving. It takes a great deal of sacrifice and dedication, and I just want to recognize our parents, who are really the backbone of our program, so thank you for all you do. I want to take a quick moment to thank my coaching staff, who always goes above and beyond helping our team and supporting them throughout the whole year. Thank you, Coach Esposito and Coach Coppinger. We had two New York State qualifiers, Rocco DiStefano and Anthony Albertabile. Please come on up. We have two special wrestlers up here. These two have been part of our kid wrestling program since they were in kindergarten. This sport is one of the most demanding sports, mentally and physically. There are three components making a great wrestler. One is technique, which takes hours of practice. Two is conditioning, which will be, you have to wrestle 6 minutes nonstop. And the third one is being strong. You physically have to be strong and mentally have to be strong. And these boys mastered all three components. The dedication and sacrifice that these boys have made over the years is the reason why they're standing up here right now tonight. They both had a terrific season. They also helped our team win the League 5 tournament and dual meet championship. They also led our team to a top 4 finish in the Suffolk County dual meet tournament for the second time in 2 years. Let's talk about the Suffolk County tournament. To qualify for the New York State tournament, you must take top 3 in your weight class out of 24 of the best wrestlers in Suffolk County. Rocco DiStefano captured 3rd place overall in one of the toughest weight classes in Suffolk County. In his first round match, he actually suffered a loss, but was able to regroup and ride off 5 consecutive wins to qualify for the state tournament. I think all wrestling coaches would agree with me that this is one of the most challenging feats to overcome mentally. It takes a lot of focus, determination, to come back the way Rocco did and win 5 consecutive matches against the best wrestlers in Suffolk was very impressive. It was an amazing moment for him, and the coaching staff and I were very proud of him. Rocco went 1-2 in the state tournament, but he's only a sophomore, and we look forward to seeing him the next 2 years there. Senior captain Anthony Albertabile. He not only does it on the mats, he also does it in the classroom where he carries a GPA of 92 and is a Mind Emotions Award winner. He earned the Suffolk County title at 145 pounds. He went 4-0 in the tournament with 3 pins. Anthony is a fearless wrestler who remains calm and cool under pressure in big matches. In the Suffolk County finals, he faced a 2-time All-State wrestler and pinned him in the 2nd period. It was an incredible match, and he earned his 2nd trip up to the New York State tournament. Anthony didn't achieve his goal of being on the podium, but he had a great season and great career here at East Islip. He's a 4-year starter, a 3-time league champion, a 3-time All-County wrestler, and a Suffolk County champion. He finished with a total of 127 career wins, which is 5th all-time in East Islip history. The coaching staff and I are very proud of him as he takes his skills on to the next level in college. He's deciding between Sacred Heart, Buffalo, or Oswego. Congratulations, and wish you guys all the best.
You guys are in the middle. I don't want to stay with me.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce our varsity boys bowling coach, Coach Fisher.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Restivo. The boys varsity bowling program had a really wonderful year this year. We finished undefeated 16-0, winning our league championship. I was really proud of the boys. But on top of that, two of the boys, one of them could not be here tonight. I should talk a little bit about their accomplishments. Matt Sundberg is a 10th grader. He's not able to be here tonight. He finished second in the league with average of 230 pins per game, which is pretty impressive. There are, just so you can put it into perspective, 280 bowlers, boy bowlers in the county, and he finished second. And along with him, who is here tonight, Andrew, come on up. Andrew Jacobson, he's a junior. He finished 5th in the county with a 225 pin average. Both of them are top in the county in high series. They're going to be recognized for match point wins. Andrew led off this whole season, and one of the skills of the leadoff bowler is that he's an incredible spare maker. And for those of you who don't know what that means, is if you don't get a strike, you got to pick up the pins that are left. And Andrew really excels at that. So these two boys are leaving tomorrow morning, along with our girls team, to compete in Syracuse. They were 2 of 6 bowlers, so I guess my math is not great. They're 2 out of 6, whatever, yeah, a third of the all-star team representing Section 11. So they're leaving tomorrow, we'll be competing Saturday morning, and it's quite an impressive team. We wish them the best of luck. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Oh, good. Good to see you. Thank you. All right, my friend. Remember to smile. You never paid a lot for those teeth.
Greg. All right, what's Greg?
Oh. Yeah, we'll hold it. Okay. Good job. Thank you.
Sticking with the bowling theme, I would like to introduce Coach Scanoni and our varsity girls bowling team.
Mr. Lombardi, definitely right. Don't know which way to stand up here, so I'm just going to face you guys this way. I'd just like to thank the Board of Education and the upper administration for acknowledging our great season we've had. But like Coach Fisher said, our job's not quite finished yet. We actually have to go up tomorrow at 9 o'clock to bowl for the state championship. We did have an incredible year though. We did finish as undefeated league and county champs. And similar to what Coach Fisher was saying about the boys side, we had similar results for the girls. In Suffolk County, 6 girls made the all-star team. And if we had not won the county championship, we would have had 3 girls on that team go up and travel and be an all-star, So that's really was an unbelievable feat. But one thing I do want to say about these girls is that their chemistry this year and the way they are together and how they act and how they are to each other is really what pushed us over the edge. And I really couldn't say more about that and how proud I am of them for that. But our job's not done, and I know that we have to go to bed, so I'm just going to cut it here. And girls, come on up.
Congratulations.
All right, cool. Doesn't matter, guys. No one's saying. Come on, Chuck. Great job. Excellent. See you tomorrow morning. See you tomorrow morning.
Moving on. Our varsity boys track coach, Coach DeBello, and Coach O'Connor, can you please come up as well? Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having us tonight. If all the boys could come on up right now and come in the middle. Yeah, make 2 rows, guys. First of all, again, as we come up here, we talk about the season and we talk about what these young men have accomplished. There's a lot to go into this season, and we have to thank a lot of people first before we even move forward and talk about the boys. So again, I want to thank the parents, because the parents have been the backbone here, picking up, driving, and our meets are not a lot in Long Island. We have to go into the city a lot. We have to go to the Armory, Ocean Breeze facility, and it's a daunting task. It's a 15, 18-hour day, and that's pretty much almost every weekend. So to all my parents, I'd like to say thank you for all your support and help. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. The next people, I know. The next people I'd like to thank are a lot of coaches. There's been a lot of coaches that have come through the program. The coaches in the past that have laid the foundation for us, and the other coaches that have been here with me. It's been a long ride going through this to try to get to this point, to this pinnacle of success. So I'd like to thank Coach O'Connor. That's my work wife here, so she always gives me the good, the bad, and the ugly. Lets me know what I'm doing wrong. I'd like to thank Coach Reynolds for his help for the last 10 years working side by side with him. Another coach that used to coach with us was Coach Veit. You know, he was here, he was part of the process when the boys were young, and so, you know, he should have some recognition along with that. Also, a couple other people that need to be recognized. When you try to build a program and you try to do something of this caliber and try to win, you need a community behind you. And Coach McEntee, I know he's standing in the back. I know he's helped us out tremendously, recruiting-wise, knowing the importance of track and helping us. And I'd also like to thank Mitch Moretta. I know he's not here tonight, Morita. He runs the PAL program, and we always stop in at McDonald's and raid the McDonald's restaurant that he owns, and he gives the kids free food, so I'd like to thank him as well. I greatly appreciate that. So for those people that have helped us along the way, you have not been forgotten. Thank you so much. Talking about the boys and talking about the season, when I walk into school, Dr. Ottawa is always talking about have a marvelous Monday, have a terrific Tuesday, a wonderful Wednesday. Well, our season has been a sensational season, because that's the only way to describe it. So when I look back, we won the league, handedly, and then we won the county pretty much handedly as well. And then we went on to the state, and went on to the county, and went on to the Long Island Championships, and we've done some remarkable things. I'm not going to go into the individual awards because I still believe it's a team. All the guys have been represented. We spoke highly about everybody, but to me, team, together, everybody achieves more. I just think it's important that everybody's up here understanding what we're doing. And the last thing that I like to do is I like to thank my captains, Joe Norby and Matt McEntee. They're part of the backbone. Part of having a good program, or a great program, is having great captains. And those two gentlemen have helped us out tremendously. And when we talk about the ride and we talk about the work ethic of what goes into this program, a lot of people don't understand. I brought 7th graders up, 8th graders up, and a lot of people were looking at me when we walk into Suffolk West to compete. And they were like, oh, we had little kids. Matt had a mullet. And he was a scrawny little kid, and we'd run, and people would just laugh at us. And we didn't do well the first few years. We took our lickings. But slowly, as we moved on, we could start to see how the future was going to build, the future was going to grow, and how much better we were going to become later on in the year. And that's what happened as we moved forward, and that's what the journey was all about. This is a journey they're never going to forget. And as I remind the boys, they walk into that gymnasium, when they look at that banner, and they see 2024, they're going to know that they were a part of something. And that's going to be a part of something that's going to be their legacy that they're going to leave East Islip with, that they were part of the 2024 County Championship team. For my 9th and 10th graders, I hope you learned something watching the older kids. For my 11th graders, I hope that you learn what it takes to become successful, because you'll have to fill those senior shoes. And then for my seniors, I wish you the best of luck in your new endeavors that you're going to pursue in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a 2024 County Championship team. Thank you. Congratulations, guys. I would like to introduce Coach John Reynolds and our varsity girls track team. Along with Coach O'Connor, just to let you know, Coach O'Connor this past season was split between the boys and girls track team.
All right, girls, come on up. As they're coming up, first I want to thank the board. Thank you guys for all your support. It's really nice for these girls. There's a bunch of people up there who've actually came out to watch them run and compete this year. It sounds silly, but they've come up to me and told me how much it meant. I know they've told some of you how much it meant to them. In a sport that we're kind of, as Coach DeBello said, we're behind closed doors, where we're either inside at Suffolk or we're out in Ocean Breeze or the Armory. It's nice to get that support from you all, and it does mean a lot to them. To their parents, thank you all very much. I've been doing this now, like as Coach DeBello said, this is our 10th year, and I've known some of these kids since they've been in 2nd, 3rd grade. To see us finally, this is our first league and county championship, to get to this point, they couldn't have done it all without you. Even as this weekend, we're going to nationals, and there's going to be people traveling in the city tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday, at 8 a.m. on a Sunday to watch their daughter race walk. It's something that's really admirable, and we wouldn't be where we are without that support. This community has gotten behind us. It's awesome for me, from when I started till now, to walk around and be proud to coach this team. And it's not just because we are really good, but because they're the best kids in the school. I know I've talked to some people in the past and trying to get them to come on up when they were younger. And one of the things I remember telling, Mr. Simonetti years ago was, you will never be disappointed with like the friends your girls make when they join this team. And that's one of those things that I personally took a lot of pride in, saying it, and I know from talking to him, and it's something that has been true to form. I want to thank coaches, as Coach DeBello said, while Miss O'Connor might be his work wife, he's my work husband. We've been doing this for a long time. There's some days we yell at each other. My favorite part today, at one point, he's screaming at me for something, and then 3 hours later, him and I are hugging out on the track. And I don't think it's a coincidence that both our programs are up here together. This wasn't something that happened overnight. Both of us have been working to do this for a long time. And the collaboration between the two of us, I know from talking to my other coaching friends, and when Coach talks to his coaching friends, I don't think there's another team, when we went to States this weekend, we're the only team that hangs out together. And, I think that helps that Coach DeBello and I work so well together. It also helps, we have Miss O'Connor. All jokes aside from her about this being, her first year and we're winning, it's not a coincidence. She has been outstanding in her first year. She only has to come to half the meets. She's at all the meets. She's at all the practices. She's inside. She's outside. She's literally everywhere. She's an ear for the girls. She's always there to help, to support. We wouldn't be where we are without you. So thank you, Miss O'Connor. It's been a great first year. And now to some of the achievements we've had. It's been an awesome year. Oh, just to piggyback on with the boys, tomorrow night we're going into the city, 9 o'clock, we're running in the Nationals, and the mixed relay, mixed 4x4, 2 boys, 2 girls. We're the only team on Long Island able to compete in this event. There's only 10 teams in the country that are chosen to compete in this event. I don't want to jinx it. We're seeded first in this event, and we're expecting to do really well. And quite frankly, I expect us to do well, and I know Coach DeBello expects the same, because we have some really awesome kids out there who are going to compete, and put it on the line. So, what I wanted to highlight was a few of the school records we broke this year. And one of the things that makes me most proud, when I talk to my other coaches and stuff, and we weren't supposed to win the leagues if you went by the numbers, and we weren't supposed to win the counties if you went by the numbers. And what we kept doing at the biggest meets, we kept performing our best. And that's the best way I could describe this group. When things got hairier or scarier, and some good athletes kind of get nervous at those moments, we went out there and we weren't just the best, we were the best in East Islip history. Sophomore Grace McCallie won the county triple jump, and she broke the school record, the triple jump this year. I don't know where Grace is. Oh. In the long jump, Chloe Garatina broke the long jump record, jumping over 17 feet. This is Chloe's first season really doing the long jump. Behind Chloe in the county championship was Grace McCallie, also in the long jump. Our 4x2 relay of Grace, Chloe, Danielle Simonetti, and Kaylee Garatina broke the school record in the 4x200. Those 4 girls tomorrow are going to compete at the national championship to try to best that school record. We've become the last few years a really successful race walking program. Senior captain Jacqueline Scandali scored in the league and county championship for the 2nd or 3rd year straight. You're not gonna help me out? 3rd year straight? Sorry, Jackie. Best thing Jackie probably did this year was her best friend, Brianna. She convinced her in the middle of January, why don't you try to race walk for fun? And for us in the county championship, 4 weeks later, Brianna was a county champion. She's not up here tonight, but she was the county champion in the race walk, which was a huge reason we won. So awesome job to our race walkers. Our throwers are getting better every day, led by senior captain Emma Johnson. They're out there working super hard every day, getting in the weight room. They're in the auxiliary gym. We have our young distance squad who placed in the league championship. They're predominantly freshmen. I expect them up here in a year or 2 as county champions themselves. Awesome job to the Minions. Our 4x400 relay, which is, last year I was able to come up here for the 4x400 relay, and it was nice to come up with 4 girls. This year, we got to bring them up. They got to bring up their whole team, and I think if you ask all 4 of those members, that's probably more valuable for them than any of the individual accolades. But they had another awesome year. They qualified for the Millrose Games, where they took 3rd place in the Millrose Games. which is pretty much the most prestigious meet in the United States. Actually, you can even argue the world, especially in an Olympic year. There were numerous world records broken at the meet we were at. The boys also competed that day and had an awesome race. Those 4x4 members, and those 4x4 members were Danica Tidridge, Grace McCallie, Danielle Berner, Danielle Simonetti. They won the small school counties. They won the league championship with the help of Caitlin Trafaro, and also the counties, Catherine Simonetti ran in the trials. They won the state qualifier with a top 5 Suffolk County time, all time in the state qualifier meet. At the state championship, they took 6th in the state championship. In the state championship, they broke the school record running 4 flat. So they just keep getting better and better every year. It's awesome to see. Lastly, I want to highlight Danielle Simonetti. Danielle had probably, for me at least, coach, in the last 10 years, the best season I've ever seen an athlete have. She just continuously won. She won no matter what race we put her in, she kept winning. A couple of Danielle's accolades, she was county champion, or league champion in the 300 and the 600. She also was small school county champion in the 600, and she came back 15 minutes later to compete. And Danielle's really a distance person, but she went down to the 300 that day and took 3rd place in the county. Danielle anchors our 4x4 and is, for us, and I think the rest of the 4x4 agrees, is like our safety net, and she constantly splits awesome time. She's gonna help carry the boys tomorrow. Danielle was named Suffolk County MVP in track and field, and for, like I said, my 10 years is the first person I've seen for East Islip. I know Matt McEntee also got it, so congrats to him. It's a really prestigious award. Danielle, in the process this year, though, she broke the school record in the 300, in the 600, and I said she's already been in the 4x2 and 4x4. Her name is all over our record books, and it's really impressive. And my favorite part of these kids, they're just really good kids. Their grades, when Mr. Restivo gives me their grades in a couple of weeks, I sit there so humbled. They're all like 95s and higher. It's unbelievable. I don't know where they find time to do it. The other thing is, they're always working. I know I saw Mr. Manzo in the summer here at the school, and he's like, when do you guys rest? They don't. They don't. They keep us on their toes. Our season ended a few weeks ago, and some of these kids have been out there running in the cold, getting ready for spring. It's what makes me so proud is how hard we keep working to get better, And we, like Mr. Restivo said, we plan on being up here in the spring. And awesome job, girls. Excited. Love working with you guys, and thank you for everything.
We'll see. You're not going to go on the floor?
No, I'm going to go on the floor. Oh, I know it's in kneel down. Go down. Okay, go down. Bend down. Bend down. Here, Ryan.
All right.
If I could just have 2 minutes of your time and ask Coach Reynolds and Coach Tabell to come up to the front. So, come on up. So, these two gentlemen and the assistant coach, Ms. O'Connor, you can come on up.
Ms. O'Connor, yeah.
Come on up with them. So, while they,
Ms. O'Connor up here.
while the kids have been great, you guys are phenomenal. I enjoy going to your races. It's wonderful. But certainly under Coach Reynolds and Coach Tabello's leadership, certainly we have grown tremendously. Both of these coaches were nominated Coach of the Year by their peers. So I want to take this opportunity to congratulate you and thank you for being their children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're my common denominator or whatever.
once again, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of our student athletes, parents, coaches, the school board, our assistant superintendents. Without all of your support, all this great stuff that's going on here in East Islip would not be possible. So thank you very much for letting us come here and represent our community in the way that it should be. Thank you.
So I just want to take this opportunity before we continue with the superintendent's presentation. On behalf of the Board of Education, we just want to thank all of our students and parents for your recognitions tonight, all the accomplishments you have. And I'm going to let you go because we're going to move into a budget presentation. So if you'd like to stay, you're more than welcome, but you kids got to get going for Syracuse in the morning. So go ahead, go.
Greg? Okay, we're gonna get started. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Diaversa, who will be presenting this evening on the International Mother Language Day. Dr. Diaversa.
Good evening. The E&L department within the East Islip School District represented International and celebrated International Mother Language Day throughout the month of February. I would like to thank the students and the teachers from the department who are here tonight to share with you a little bit of the celebration and a little bit of what we do within our program on a daily basis. I'm going to introduce Ms. Byronheimer, the teacher for Connecticut Elementary School and East Islip Middle School.
Hello. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share the projects our students created this past International Mother Language Day. The purpose of this day is to promote linguistic and cultural awareness within our district. In addition, our E&L students, we had many students participate sharing their first and second languages. Our elementary and middle school students' language, as we saw from the video, which we're hopefully going to play soon. Our elementary and middle school students collaborated in embracing our differences, celebrating our similarities, and most of all, encouraging inclusion within our classrooms. I'd like to introduce my two colleagues, Derek Bleiberg and Serena Ruggiero, to the stand. We're actually going to play the video first, and then we'll go on to their speeches. We have some students with us today that wanted to speak.
Ti amo.
Hello, I'd like to start off by saying thank you for letting us come here tonight and also for everybody's ongoing support in our growing program. The students that are here with us tonight are excited to share their experiences as English language learners, what they have learned in the process, and how these experiences and knowledge are beneficial to all students in the East Islip School District. So I would like to introduce two of our JFK students who we're very proud of, who would like to say a few words. We have Helen Rodriguez and Nathan Noel.
Hi, my name is Helen, and I'm in 4th grade. I'm at the commanding level in the ENL program. Being a part of the ENL program at JFK is amazing. We get the chance to learn many things in the classroom and in small groups. Also, there are many new students who are learning English. I like that I'm able to help them learn the language and be a good role model. I am very grateful to be with Mr. Blackbird and Mr. Grill and all my friends. Have a great night.
Hi, my name is Nathan Nowak. I am from the 4th grade student at JFK Elementary School. I am at the expanding level in the ENL program. My favorite part about being in the ENL program is that we get to work with Mr. Joyo and Mr. Blyden, and that we get to celebrate our cultures and languages. I like to do the morning announcements in Polish for everyone in school to hear. I love sharing my language with the school. Thank you and have a good night.
And we just have 3 of our 7th grade students who want to share something too. So can I introduce Genesis?
Hello, my name is Genesis Valencia. I started learning English in 3rd grade. It was hard learning English in the beginning because I felt odd trying to speak a language I didn't know. I was nervous to make mistakes and say things wrong. But if you keep working hard and stay focused, you can achieve things. Now I feel proud to know 2 languages because I can connect with 2 groups of people. Thank you for listening.
Isabella?
Hello, my name is Isabella Rojas. Knowing 2 languages means we also know 2 different cultures. We can share things we know from our culture with other kids while we learn new things in English. This develops understanding and builds friendships. I hope I can inspire other students to learn another language too.
And Leonardo Hernandez.
Hello, my name is Leo Hernandez. My first language is Spanish. I've been in the ELL program since 3rd grade. Learning English is the biggest part of my life because English is a major language I used to communicate with. When I didn't know English, I felt left out. 4th grade was an important year because I turned 10, double digits. But more so because I started to learn more words in English. I finally felt like I belonged. Having ELL makes me feel relieved. I am more comfortable sharing my ideas, participating in class. I also get to know other people's ideas, opinions, and understand my surroundings better. I'm not just learning, but I'm also adapting. Thank you for having me in your ELL program.
Thank you to the ENL department and all of our English language learners.
Mr. Manzo, could we get a quick picture?
On behalf of the Board of Education, thank you to our ENL students to speak to us. I'm going to dismiss you folks as well. Okay? You kids can head home.
Thank you. All right, at this time we're going to turn the mic over to Mr. Harrison for our first budget presentation. I know you've all been waiting for this. Mr. Harrison.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the Board of Ed for providing me the opportunity to present the first draft of the budget tonight, and also with the support of the superintendent, my colleagues, and district administrators, as well as my staff that allowed us to get to this point tonight. So this is a slide I resurrected from older presentations, but I think it's important to understand that in building a budget, you obviously look at your expenses and your revenue. But if you're in a situation like most districts are, where the expenses exceed revenues, something has to plug the hole, and that's district reserves. So tonight we're going to cover revenue, with the major components being state aid and property taxes. Then we'll move into budget accomplishments and initiatives, and then discuss the expense budget. Then we'll follow up by a capital reserve discussion, and finally the budget timeline. So I know this is small on the screen, but there are copies that if you wanted to get, please feel free. So this slide reflects our state aid that is proposed in the current budget by the governor. And as you can see, going to the bottom line, we're right now anticipating an 8.3% reduction in state aid going into next year, which is the equivalent of $3.4 million. The decrease comes in two main categories. The first category is foundation aid, which is the major component of state aid, which is dropping by $3.2 million. And the main reason behind this drop in state aid is that the governor has excluded from her budget for next year what's considered a hold harmless agreement. That hold harmless law actually states that any school district would not get any less state aid in the subsequent year that they're receiving in the current year. So without that provision in the budget, our revenue from state aid, specifically foundation aid, is anticipated to decrease by close to $3.3 million. In addition, building aid is decreasing by close to $1 million, and that's not unexpected, but however, it is a decrease to the budget. And what's causing that is the previous bond project that was undertaken by the district generated state aid payments, which last a total of 15 years. So those payments are coming to a close in the 24-25 school year and having that decrease. The other number I'd like to point out is public excess cost aid. It appears we're getting a huge increase of $679,000. However, the 23-24 base year is currently understated. So it's anticipated by the time we get to adopting the budget, this increase will not be there because the current year number will be closer to the amount that we're going to receive this year. So, because of the whole harmless provision that's been in the budget all these years, the district has been maintaining a level balance of funding, which is the orange line of $29 million. But without that hold harmless provision, and if the foundation aid formula was working, we'd actually be receiving quite a bit less, which is represented by the blue line. And in these previous years, and including this year, the district's been overfunded in state aid according to the foundation aid formula. So the governor is attempting in her budget to reduce that difference from the orange line to the blue line and reduce our state aid this year by $3.2 million, and then another reduction in the following year by 3.2. So if nothing changes as of now, Well, going forward, the district would see itself close to $7 million less than state aid in the next 2 years, over the next 2 years. And the reason we've been considered overfunded in the past years is because the left-hand chart shows that our enrollment figures are dropping from the 5,000 and 4,000 student level to down to 4,000 and 3,000. So there are two indicators that have been dropping over the past several years that would generate a decrease in foundation aid if the formula was working. And that's directly tied to drops in enrollment. The right-hand chart shows that on average, the student poverty factors in East Islip are less in poverty than compared to the state. So again, poverty levels such as free and reduced population counts, 2000 census poverty, these figures have us being in less of a need per student than our counterparts throughout the state. So given these two factors, if foundation aid formula is working and there's no hold harmless provision, this is what leads to our $3.2 million drop in state aid next year. Okay, slides 7 and 8 reference our next our largest revenue contributor, which is the tax levy. And each school district has to work through this calculation to achieve their own specific property tax cap, maximum allowable levy. And I have two examples of this calculation. Prior to last week, we weren't sure what was happening with our pilot payment, which are payments in lieu of taxes. So I'm just going to walk through this calculation real quick. The current levy for 23-24 is $74.7 million. And we're allowed to adjust this levy by several factors. One is the tax-based growth factor, which is a measure provided to us by New York State, which indicates how much building is going on in the East Islip community. So from that factor, we're allowed to increase our levy by $127,000. Up until recently, moving to the next category, which are pilot payments, this is for a property within the East Islip community that wasn't on the tax rolls, but was remitting us a payment representative of what they would be paying in taxes. So that pilot payment originally was anticipated to stay the same from year to year, which would not impact the tax levy. But now if we can flip to the next slide, we've been notified by the town of Islip IDA that that agreement has terminated, it's run its course, and we're no longer going to be receiving that pilot payment. So there's an inverse relationship between the change in pilot payments and the amount of taxes you can raise. So as the pilot payments decrease, we can increase our levy by the corresponding amount. So it's important to note that these are funds that actually are being received and helping to support our budget. So as these funds go away, if we don't tax for at least the same amount, our revenue will be reduced by $1 million. The next couple of lines are in reference to the local share for capital projects, construction projects. So what's happening here is we're comparing the amount of debt service that we use to borrow to fund these projects, less the state aid received. So as you see, there's not much of a change from year to year, so that's not really impacting the tax levy calculation. And this is a planned event as we're trying to keep the tax levy stable as it relates to capital projects. The next category is an exclusion for either TRS or ERS premium contribution increases. And if the actual premium contribution rate is increasing by more than 2% in any of those categories, we're allowed to tax for the amount above 2%. And in this case, it's $10,771, which is 0.1% of the ERS premium contribution increase for next year. And then finally, we're allowed to increase the levy from the lesser of 2% or CPI. CPI is at 4.12%. So we're only allowed to increase the tax cap by the 2%, which is the $1.4 million that you see there. So when you put all these factors together, the allowable tax levy increase is 3.48% for 24-25. This is the amount, as long as we stay at or below, requires a 50% plus one majority. Right now, this is the amount that's also supporting the first draft of the expense budget. So this graph is just comparing the allowable levy to what was the actual levy going back to 12-13. So right now, with the 24-25 draft budget, we have included the full levy. But if you look back to the past 2 years as an example, in 23-24, the levy increase allowable was as high as 2.18%. However, the board and administration agreed to go out at 1.4%, which is well below the cap. So the green is the actual, and the red is the maximum allowable. So you see that there's a pretty good track record going back to 15-16 that being at or below, well below the cap. This is just another representation of the same information, however in dollars. So if you look to an example of 23-24, where I mentioned in the previous slide we were below the cap, we could have taxed at a rate of $75,281,000. However, being below the cap, we actually received $74.7 million. So being below the cap is not just a thing on paper, it's actually has real-world consequences where it provides less money to the district in terms of real estate property tax revenue. So some people have asked the question in the past, so we included this chart. If we went to the cap in every year and built upon that year after year, our levy could have been as high as $86.5 million, almost $9 million more than is being proposed at, well, being included in the first draft of the budget. So there's an opportunity cost that happens year after year that compounds itself, and that this is not something we will ever be able to recoup. It's just the fact that your tax levy that's actual in any given year becomes your new base for the next year. So if your base is lower than what was allowable, that is an opportunity cost that continues to compound year after year. So this chart is provides an example of an average homeowner in the East Islip School District with an assessed valuation of $40,000. So the question that's been asked over the years, how does this current budget impact the average homeowner? So with the 24-25 first draft of the budget at 3.48% increase on the levy, you see that the average homeowner will see roughly a $276 increase annually in property taxes. Now, I do want to point out in previous years, you've seen we've been at zero or below zero, and that's a combination of being below the tax levy cap or having a 0% increase in the levy, but it's also a combination of changes in homestead assessed valuation. So there are other things that in play besides us just setting the tax levy. It's also changes in assessed valuations for each homeowner. So in a summary of the revenue budget, you see that the two largest components of revenue are property taxes, which supports 61% of the budget, and state aid, which supports another 30% of the budget. So between those two factors, 91% of the budget is being funded. The next largest component is the difference between the expense budget and the revenue budget as it stands during the first draft. So right now, there's a gap of $8.8 million between the revenue and expense budget. And this number is quite a bit larger than it has been in the past, but it's a direct result of the $3.2 million in state aid that's been decreased from next year's budget. In years past, you might see a number somewhere in the $4 to $5 million range, but obviously with the deficit on the state aid budget, that impacts that number right there. So I'm not going to go through the next several slides. Please pick up a copy on your way out, and this will be posted on the website tomorrow. But it goes through a long list of accomplishments that I'm very proud to present on behalf of the administration and Board of Education. So please take a look at that when you have an opportunity. So now we're going to jump into the expense side of the budget, and this is a comparison from the budget for 24-25 as compared to 23-24, excuse me. And if we look at the bottom of this chart, you see that over $2.4 million increase in expenses for salary and benefits going into next year. And that is made up of primarily increases in medical insurance, ERS premium contributions, and TRS premium contributions. So the line directly above it is going up by $2.5 million, which is contributing to this increase of 2.65%. Just to mention some of the activity going on here, in the instructional teacher line, we have retirements for next year, and those retirements have been factored into the budget, so that's why there's a decrease. Moving down to the TA, the teacher assistant line is reflecting that we've had some retirements in prior years being replaced with entry-level salaries, and the same thing holds true for the paraprofessionals, the clerical staff. So both those lines are being impacted from retirees being replaced by entry-level staff. If we look to the custodial line, there's a small increase there, and we tightened up on sub-usage and overtime based upon trends and reduced those budgets going into next year, so that's why that number is decreasing. And then finally on paraprofessionals, which is an increase of $262,000, we've had to hire more staff for more hours because of different needs throughout the district, including special education needs. The final code there that's going up by $47,000 includes medical buyback expenditures. So with the increase in healthcare costs, we pay more for medical buyback. So that's what's fueling that increase. So overall, salary and benefits going up by $2.5 million or 2.65%. The remainder of the budget's going down actually by 2.9%. There are certain decreases that are happening, and I'm not going to go through them all, but due to our energy performance contract, we're able to reduce our expenditures for utilities. That's been factored in. And transportation, we've been incurring less expense over the past couple of years due to ridership, and that's been decreased. I would like to mention the insurance line going up by $136,000. That includes our insurance policies that are seeing an impact because of payouts due to child victim acts, and also weather-related events are happening more and more. So between those two factors, premium increases are double-digit for next year. If we look to the professional and technical line, which is going up by $291,000, we do have an E-rate project that's built into the budget for next year for over $100,000, and we also have seen an increase in related service providers for special education students. So overall, the budget's increasing by 1.38%, the equivalent of $1.7 million. And that's the first draft of the budget total. The next two pages just give you a percentage illustration of what each component of the budget represents, and it should be no surprise to anybody that we're a people business. So over 74% of our budget is related to salaries and benefits, slight change from last year. And that's mainly because of the increase in employee benefits relatable to medical insurance, TRS, and ERS premium contributions. And here are the other smaller categories that contribute to the remaining 25%. Okay, so Also on the ballot this year is a capital reserve proposition. We're starting to look to the future. We've come through a period of great expenditure for upgrading our buildings, but if you look 10 years out, the roofs that we put on just a few short years ago are going to be over 15 years old. So we have to start thinking about the future. And right now, the voters are going to be asked to approve and establish and fund a capital reserve that will be funded up to an amount of $3 million each year and not to exceed $30 million over 10 years. So this is one of the more restrictive reserves. It gives you the district an ability to accrue some funds so that we wouldn't have to borrow and save money. The establishment of this reserve is restrictive and it requires voter approval for the money to go in as well as to come out. So when we're ready to spend from this fund, we'll be coming back to the taxpayers and they'll be asked to approve specific projects for specific dollar amounts. And we've done that in the past with the previous capital reserve, which is coming to a close next year. So that's another reason why we're establishing this reserve, to look towards the future. What's going to be included are major system upgrades, including mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and also interior and exterior building renovation and site work. So these are very broad categories. We do have a list of items that we're going to try to attack, but as it comes closer to us wanting to take money from this reserve, we will provide greater detail to the public and ask them to vote approve it. All right, so on this chart here, it presents some historical data. It shows that the 24-25 information is currently in draft format with a $77.3 million tax levy, which is a 3.48% increase over the previous year. In addition, our draft budget is $127.5 million. And the thing I'd like to draw your attention to are two. Even with the 3.48% increase factored in for next year, our 5-year average increase to the levy is 1.46%. And then finally, on the far right-hand side is what we're right now considering to appropriate from the reserves and fund balance. Almost $8.9 million, which is the most we've seen going back to at least 2014-15. And again, this is necessary because the current reduction in state aid, $3.2 million. The timeline for the remaining meetings, our next presentation is March 20th. Our budget adoption date is right now scheduled for April 16th. This may change depending on whether or not we have a final state budget, because as of now we don't, and we may not have one by the deadline of April 1st, and it's very likely that's going to be late. So we want to give as much opportunity for the board to consider all relevant factors, so this date may need to be changed as we move forward. But all indications are right now from what we're hearing is that the budget's going to be late from New York State, which makes our job more difficult. There is a required budget hearing meeting on May 7th, and this all culminates with the May 21st budget vote and election. So right now, I'd like to open it up to any questions from the Board of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, for that presentation.
You're welcome.
Going through the budget here, I just jotted down some numbers as a summary. So just to go through it for a second. So that pilot payment we're losing is almost $1 million, correct?
That's correct.
And benefits are going up $2.5 million, which is mostly medical benefits of almost $2 million alone, correct?
That's right.
And your budget includes a reduction in state aid of about $3.4 million.
Yes.
So that's a total of about $7 million that's coming out of the pot before we get into any raises or anything else.
That's correct.
And the 3.48% proposed tax levy increase is about $2.6 million.
Yes.
So that other $4.5 million is more than doubling what we're taking out of reserves over last year, correct?
That's right.
So that's $8.8 million out of reserves, which would equate, if we didn't use our reserves, to about an 11% tax increase.
I'm sorry, would you mind repeating that one?
The $8.8 million we're taking out of reserves, if we didn't use reserves, 8.8 million is about 11% tax increase on the homeowners, isn't it, if we didn't use our reserves?
That's right.
That's in addition to the 3.4.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Harrison, now it's 8.8 million taken out of reserves. I know there's a lot of homeowners that are wondering why we can't take more out or shouldn't. Can you explain that?
Yes. So each of the reserves that are in place are there for specific uses. For instance, a workers' comp reserve, unemployment reserve. So we have to abide by both education law as well as general municipal law. So just because there's money in these funds doesn't mean we can just take it out and appropriate it for anything. We have to match that with whatever expenses in the budget. I'd like to give you an example if I can find. So we may have $1.8 million in the workers' comp reserve. However, our budget includes only $715,000 in expense. So we're limited in how much we can take from that reserve because the expense is lower than what the total amount is in reserve. So between having to comply with education law and general municipal law, as well as the restrictiveness of the funds, reserve funding is considered a one-shot opportunity. So as you use up those funds, if you don't have surpluses in subsequent years, those monies are not available for you to take out again to fund subsequent year's budget. As an example, if our state aid decreases by $7 million and we don't have any surplus in subsequent years, those monies would dry up in 3 to 4 years. And we've been supporting programs that we really can't sustain going forward. So we want to be careful in what we appropriate, how much we appropriate, and when we do it. It's a difficult balancing act, but all these factors go into that answer. In addition, our financial strength is based upon the amount we have in reserves. So as we draw down on those reserves, things will become more expensive for us, primarily borrowing. So when we go out to borrow, they look at our strength, mainly what's in reserve, and they assess us and rate us. And if we don't have those levels in the reserve, interest expense would start to go up over years and our rating will go down.
Thank you.
So Steve, supporting the budget with about $9 million in reserves, is this what, 2-3 years of reserves if the state keeps it at this level and expenses keep increasing as they are?
Right, and we don't have subsequent year surpluses, which would be less likely as those decreases in state aids continue.
So despite putting our nuts away for the last 10 years and making sure reserves are healthy, we only have 2-3 years at this level. What do $8 million in cuts look like?
Drastic.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Harrison, I just had a question just regarding slide number 24. You highlighted there that taking into account with the 3.4, 8% tax levy, if you factor in what we went to the community with the past prior 4 years, the average you mentioned in this year is 1.46. However, if we factored in the last 10 years, including the 3.48, that figure would be significantly different. I was just trying to do the calculation quick, but I was just wondering for our next budget presentation, if we could just factor in 10-year average.
Sure.
Thank you.
And as you're indicating, given the numbers that are there, it would be less than the 1.6 because all the percentages are less than.
Correct, yeah, that's what I just wanted to highlight. Thank you.
That's all we have, Mr. Dorman.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Mr. Harrison. Next up, public comments on agenda items only. Do we have any public comments on agenda items? Not hearing any. Certified personnel. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the resignation, termination, leave of absence, position applications, employment appointments, tenure appointments, and salary changes in accordance with the applicable provisions of education and civil service law as cited in the certified personal attachments. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Non-certified personnel. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the resignations, termination, leave of absences, position abolitions, employment appointments, tenure appointments, and salary changes in accordance with applicable provisions of education and civil service law as cited in the non-certified personal attachments. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
A memorandum agreement between the East Islip Union Free School District and the East Islip Teacher Association concerning girls flag football coaching position. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves a memorandum of agreement between the East Islip Union Free School District and the East Islip Teachers Association creating a varsity girls flag football coach position and assistant varsity girls flag football coach position effective July 1st, 2024. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Agreement between the East Islip Union Free School District and the East Islip Teachers Association regarding security guard pay. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves an agreement between the East Islip Union Free School District and the East Islip Teachers Association regarding security guard pay effective February 16, 2024. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Does anyone want anything removed from the consent? Oh, I'm sorry. Oop, I'm sorry, I missed one. Settlement agreement, staff member 3204, be it resolved that that the Board of Education of the East Islip Union Free School District, having reviewed an agreement involving a former member of the instructional staff in executive session, hereby approves such agreement and authorizes and directs the Superintendent of Schools and the Board of Education President to execute such agreement on behalf of the Board of Education. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Getting back on track, sorry, folks. Items to be removed from consent agenda. Anyone? Nope. So we're going to vote on consent agenda items 8.2 through 8.18. Be it resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, hereby approves the consent agenda items 8.2 through 8.18 in accordance with the action presented for each item. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Appropriation changes for the 2023-24 school year. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the attached list of appropriation changes for the 2023-24 school year. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Old business? Anyone have any old business? New business. Anyone have any new business? Public comments?
Yes. Jenny Rodrigo? Please go ahead and the microphone there.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jenny Masterigo. My son is a second grader at Timber Point Elementary School, and I have an incoming kindergartner for next year. It came to our attention, a couple of parents' attention, that for next year, the incoming third graders into JFK will now not be given ICT classes, that they will be given at RCK. And this is pretty concerning, as we've been kind of gearing up towards this with our children, a few of us, and now it was kind of just pulled out from under us, and we're a little bit concerned as to the well-being and consistency of the educational process with our children, because some of them have high anxiety and other issues, and moving to a new school is already a big transition for a few of them, and to now take them away possibly from children that they've been with for the past 3 years is alarming, and we don't want it to become a setback for them. So we're kind of finding it a bit unfair. We've been kind of teetering on it's not definite, but it is definite. So we all have our, meetings coming up as of April, and while we're sitting in our meetings to decide the future for our children, we don't know where we stand, because I know for myself, my son will not be accepting the position given at RCK, as to the fact that it would just be devastating to him on an emotional, social level, and taking that away, his academic level, it will just completely tank. So it's definitely a concern, and I really just don't know how to proceed at this point when I do have my meeting. So I just want to be prepared as best that I can, and I don't know if it's already been made aware to other parents, as I know they were continuing to make phone calls this week through the school level. So it might be a surprise to people, and I apologize for that, but as tonight was the board meeting, it was kind of the only opportunity to express our concerns as, our children go into the next grade. Transitioning to a new building is hard enough, but then taking away services that they definitely need, it's just to move them back and forth. We don't know if it's like a numbers thing, because I was told that there aren't enough of them to have it at our home school. But then I'm thinking, okay, well, if we don't have it enough at this year, then it follows them every year. So in 4th grade now at RCK, 3rd through 5th has inclusion classes, but now with our children in 3rd grade, are they gonna now lose that in 3rd through 5th because our numbers are too low in our grade? So that is definitely a concern, and I just urge you to please consider at least one inclusion class per building, per school, to really make this an easy transition for our children, because it would be devastating not only to them, the parents, and their friends. I know academics is very important, but the social emotional is also a very important thing to us as well. So I thank you for your time and hearing a couple of us out, and implore you, please, just think about it. Keep the inclusion class for them in each school. At least one. Just, that's all we're asking, at least one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Larissa Johnson?
Hi, how are you all? My name is Marissa. I actually have 3 boys currently in Timber Point. I have a set of twins who are in 2nd grade, and then I have another one who's in 1st grade. We picked this school district specifically for the school district and what it was known for. We voted you as a board because I heard you talk about how important special ed was. I am very proud to be from East Islip, but when I received a call today, it was very disheartening to me. I watched so many children tonight succeed, and that's what we all want, is for our children to succeed. How am I supposed to tell one of my twins that he can't go to school with his brother, who has been working so hard to get out of a 12-1-1 to be able to be in a class of his peers, that now, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry that you did so much work. We paid for tutoring. We spent endless nights helping him prepare. And his excitement of being able to be with these kids that he's been hoping to be with, just to have it pulled out from him. And explain to him that my niece and his 2 brothers are allowed to go to JFK, but he will not be, because we can't put an ICT class. That is not something that I'm gonna sit idle by. I work too hard to have my kids, and I work too hard in life to live here and have to deal with this. So I implore you to please reconsider this, because it is not something I'm gonna tolerate. And I know I had to come here straight from work. I also work in a school district, not close, and I made sure to get here. And so many other people didn't have that chance because we only found out very late. And then to hear also that the decision hasn't been made, but I received a phone call. I should have never got a phone call if the decision wasn't made, okay? Don't rile my whole world up and have to deal with my child and tell my siblings, who are twins, who are like this, that I'm sorry. It's not gonna happen for you. I'm so sorry that you spent so much time on reading, on math. I'm so sorry that we made you do so many things just to get to that level for us to push you in a building with kids that you don't know. I won't do that to my child, so you are pushing me in a corner to make my child go in gen ed when honestly he's not quite ready for it, but that is what I will do, because I will not rip him away from his peers, and I will not put him in that social situation to make him do that. It's not fair to him after all his work. So I also ask, when I do put him in gen ed, and he is going to get the resources that I am going to ask you to give him because he deserves them, what is gonna happen when he doesn't succeed? Whose fault is it then? That's all I would like you to take home and think about tonight, because I'm just not gonna let this slide. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Okay. Last item before we close the meeting, the next board.
So thank you both for coming in tonight and sharing your concerns. I just want to make sure that you understand that CSE placement decisions are not made until there's a meeting held. Okay, so I apologize for you receiving misinformation. I will look into it further, and you either get a call from either myself or Dr. Bills tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. The next Board of Education regular business meeting and budget presentation number 2 will be held on Wednesday, March 20th, 2023. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.